Hey guys, I know you're excited because you just got your Pandora's box, but you notice there are no games installed on it. So what you need to do is you need to go and download the games to install them. So that's what this instructional video is all about. So first things first, you're going to grab the USB drive that came with the unit and put it into your computer. When you do that, you should see it show up as a USB drive, whether it's Mac or Windows, and you're going to just open that folder up. So what you see is when you open that drive up, you're going to have a ROMs folder, which is currently empty, and you're going to have this document that says how to download games. This document is actually going to be really important because it has the URL of where you need to go in order to actually download the 2D games and the 3D games. We're going to start with the 2D games first, and here's the link right here. That's the link you're going to use. We're going to start with those first, and then we'll go to the 3D games after that. So let's go through the process, and hopefully this will make it really simple and easy so you can get to gaming really quickly after the system arrives at your doorstep. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you want to copy this link right here for the 2D games and then paste that into your web browser. So let's do that, and then that will bring us to a site that we can download the 2D games that we'll be putting onto the USB drive. Okay, so paste the link into your browser. And from here, you'll see a download link. I'm using Google Chrome. You may be using a different browser, but regardless, you should see a link that says download somewhere. So if it looks unfamiliar and you want to use Chrome, you can do that. So you click on download, and it's going to say that I can't scan it for viruses. Ignore that and say download anyway. And then you'll see it's downloading right there. So we're downloading the file now. However, it's in a format that is an archive. So you will need something to unzip that. What I would suggest is WinRAR if you're on a Windows machine. There are various different utilities, but WinRAR is the one that I prefer to use. There is a trial for it, so you could use it just for this purpose if you don't need it in the future. So I would select WinRAR, get that downloading while you're waiting for the file to finish, and then that will be helpful and make it faster when we get to the next step. Okay, so after the file's done downloading, you want to locate it on your hard drive. So more likely than not, it's going to be in your downloads folder. You're going to right click on it and you're going to say extract files. We want to extract it directly to the USB drive. We don't want to put it in the ROMs folder. We want to put it at the root of the directory. So I'm just going to select the drive. In my case, it's the E drive, and I'm going to select OK. It's going to then extract the contents of the archive file, the 2d.rar file, to the USB key. So be patient. This does take a little while. So I'm going to let this go, and then we'll go back and I'll show you next steps. So in addition, this will take some time because we're going directly to the USB key. If you wanted, you could extract it to your desktop and then copy it over. I just thought this will eliminate one step, and it might be a little slower. It won't avoid the dragging and dropping of the files from your computer over to the USB key. So we're just going directly to it. If you want to do it the other way, you can, but this way I feel is a little bit more simple. So after the extraction's complete, we can navigate over to the USB drive, and you should now see a folder called 2D. If you double click on that, you'll see a folder called ROMs, and if you double click on that, you'll see the ROM files that were extracted. So we're not doing anything with this other ROMs folder. We're leaving that alone, and we should just have our 2D folder there. So if 2D is not in the root, then it's not in the right place, and the games will not work. So make sure your folder structure looks like this, and if it does, you should be good to go. So at this point, we don't have the 3D games loaded, but we can eject this USB, and we can put it into the Pandora's box, and we should actually see the 2D games in the games list. So let's just do that now to make sure that everything's working. So let's hit the eject, and we'll go over to our console. Okay, now we're going to take our USB and put it into the Pandora's box. It's really important that we use the top port. The bottom port won't load the games. And so now that it's in there, let's hook it up to HDMI and fire this thing up, and we should see the games right on the menu. Okay, once the system is fully booted up, you will see the games list. So it's really important that you notice it's only going to be the 2D games list. If you jump over to the 3D games list, there won't be anything there, but that's because we have not downloaded those games yet. So you'll notice all of them are here in the 2D list. So if this looks this way, then you did it correct and we're good to go. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go and jump over to the 3D games. As you can see, none of them are there. We're going to now take out the USB, and we're going to go put it back in our computer so we can load the 3D games. Okay, at this step, you're going to power down the console, remove the USB, and we're going to put it back into our computer so we continue the process and load the 3D games now. Okay, after we jump back to the PC and put the USB back in, we're going to notice that everything looks about the same as it did before. However, we are going to need to go back to that text file, so how to download games. So we're going to double click on that, and what we're going to do is we need to use these links right here to download all 5 of these files. It takes all 5 of these files and it builds a package that we then extract so that we have access to the 3D game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you downloading each one individually, and then you're going to want to download them to your downloads folder again, and then at that point we can extract them onto the USB key and be good to go, and the 3D game should be there. So let's start our first download. Okay, so we're going to want to copy and paste our first link into our browser, so copy there, and then we're going to jump back to Chrome and paste that link into our browser. Okay, now we're back to our web browser. We're going to paste that first link in, and you'll see it says part1.rar, so we're going to say download, and you should see that download started. Oh, sorry, you have to click download anyway, because the file's too big to virus scan, and you'll see part 1 is downloading here. Now we're going to repeat the process for every file in here. So we're going to do the same thing, paste this one in, and we can do these all at the same time. They're pretty big files, but we can do them all at the same time if we want. So go there, same process, download. It's going to give us that same error about it can't virus scan it, download anyway. And now you see part 1 and part 2 are going at the same time. Now I'm going to do the same thing and repeat the process for all 5 of these files. So they're all downloading at the same time and to the same place. So copy, open up a new window, say paste and enter. And again, we're going to keep doing this over and over until we have all 5 going at the same time. You can do it individually. If you have a relatively quick browser or a quick internet connection, you could probably do them all at the same time. If you have to do them one by one, just follow the process the same way. All right, we're going to paste that in. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, and we're about to have part 4 started. And then finally, we're going to get part 5. Okay, now we have all 5 parts of the RAR file downloading. So this is going to take a little bit. So I'm going to let this go, and then I'll come back and show you how to extract them onto the USB. And then at that point, we're pretty much wrapped up. I'll put it back into the Pandora's box, and we should see not only the 2D games, but the 3D games. Okay, so we're going to navigate back to the downloads folder, and what you're going to see is the 2D file that we worked with before and all 5 parts of the RAR file we just downloaded for the 3D games. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on each one of these and say extract here. The reason why we're doing it here is because it's going to be a lot faster than doing it directly to the USB. So we're going to do it here first, and then we're going to move the files from here to the USB drive. So that's an example of doing one, and you're going to do that with every single one. So you're going to do it with part 2, extract here. You can move that file out, move that box out of the way. Part 3, right click, extract here. Part 4, right click, extract here. And part 5, right click, extract here. When this is finished, you're going to see all 5 parts, and the 3D games will be inside each folder, and those are the files we're going to move from there to the USB drive. Okay, so now you can see that all of the files have been extracted, and they made individual folders that correspond with the name of the RAR file. So if you look inside these real quick, you'll see that's where the games are located. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up a window right next to this that's got the USB destination directory, and we're going to actually copy and paste from here into that directory. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to open up the USB in a separate window, and I'll show you what to do from there. Okay, so with the downloads folder open, I'm going to right click on the USB drive and say open in a new window, and then I'm going to move this window over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to the ROMs folder of the USB drive. Okay, it is really important that we're in the ROMs folder of the USB drive, so make sure that's where you're at, because that's where these 3D games belong. Okay, so getting back to the left window over here, I'm going to double click on part 1 to get into that folder. I'm going to hold down my left mouse button, and I'm going to select all of these. Let go of my left mouse button, right click, copy, paste. You could also alternatively just drag them all over like that as well. So if you want to do it this way, you could left click, select, hold the left mouse button down and drag them over here. Either way, those two methods work. So basically what I just did, we're going to repeat for every single one of these folders. So we're going to go to the part 2 folder. We're going to do the same thing, select them all, drag and drop, and you'll see the copy operation starting. We're going to do the same thing for 3. Drag and drop. Remember, it has to be ROMs folder. It's really important. Part 4, same thing, drag and drop. Go up a level, part 5, select all, drag and drop. So when this is complete, it's going to take a little while. All of the files will be there. So, you probably want to step away at this point because it's going to take a while to finish. So let this thing finish. I'm going to fast forward through this, and then I'll show you what the last step is. Okay, so after the copy is complete, we should be able to go to that ROMs folder and we'll see all of the 3D games that we copied in. I actually didn't do all of them just because, for sake of time, it does take a while. So now we're going to eject the USB drive. We're going to put it into our Pandora's box and we should be good to go. All right, as you can see, the 3D games list is now populated and you are good to go. So that concludes this tutorial. I hope you enjoy your Pandora's box, and thanks for joining.